The mind is always running. It keeps thinking about what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. But have you ever noticed that tomorrow never actually comes? It is always just today. Even when you reach tomorrow, it becomes today again. Still, the mind lives in the idea of a future. It keeps creating pictures of what life should be, what happiness should feel like, what success should bring, and how relationships should give comfort and security. But all these are just images, just ideas built from past memories and hopes. For example, a student thinks, if I get good marks, I will be happy. But when the result comes and the marks are good, the happiness only lasts for a few minutes or days. Then the mind starts thinking, now I have to get into a good college, and later, I must get a good job. This is a never-ending chain. The same thing happens in relationships. A person falls in love and thinks, now I will never be lonely again. But slowly, the same mind that created pleasure from the idea of love begins to feel trapped, insecure, or fearful of losing that person. Then it starts imagining problems, jealousy, comparison, and pain. The person begins to chase a better future again, maybe with another partner or through distractions like social media, movies, or shopping. In religion too, the mind plays games. Many people believe in heaven, rebirth, or spiritual rewards because they are afraid of facing the truth that life is uncertain and nothing is guaranteed. So belief becomes a way to escape. Instead of questioning reality deeply, they hold on to fixed ideas because it makes them feel safe. But safety is not the same as truth. The truth is often uncomfortable. The truth is that everything is changing. Success, relationships, health, money, all are temporary. Yet the mind doesn't want to accept this. It keeps imagining a future where everything will be perfect. It says, someday I will be peaceful, someday I will be happy, someday my problems will go away. But that day never comes because peace is not in the future. It is only possible now. The mind also keeps holding on to the past. If someone had a beautiful vacation or a joyful moment with a loved one, the mind replays that again and again. It wants to feel that same pleasure once more. But by doing that, it is living in memory, not in reality. The body is in the present, but the mind is stuck in old pictures. And when a painful memory arises, like a breakup, a failure, or a loss, the mind tries to push it away. It distracts itself. But the pain remains inside like a wound. It does not go away just by ignoring it. The more we run away from pain, the deeper it goes. For example, if someone loses their job, they may feel fear and sadness. But instead of facing these emotions fully, they may start blaming others, or escape into drinking or binge-watching shows. Still, the fear continues inside them. It doesn't vanish. The same happens with guilt or regret. The mind keeps repeating the thought, why did I do that? What if I had chosen differently? It goes in loops, circling around the same emotion like a trapped bird in a cage. And when we identify ourselves with success or failure, we create false images of who we are. A man who becomes a CEO starts thinking, I am powerful, I am someone. But this is just a role given by society. It is not his real self. If he loses his job tomorrow, he may fall into depression because he was attached to that image. The same thing happens in religion when people say, I am Hindu, I am Muslim, I am Christian. These are labels. The truth is that you are just a human being, free, alive, aware. But the mind loves to create identities because it gives a false sense of meaning. It builds walls between people. It says, my belief is right, yours is wrong, and this becomes the root of conflict. In relationships too, we often identify with roles. I am a good husband, I am a loving mother. But when the child grows up and doesn't listen, or the partner leaves, the image breaks and we suffer. Why? Because we were attached to the role, not to reality. We didn't see things as they are. We saw them as we wanted them to be. The mind keeps chasing pleasure, avoiding pain, and missing the present moment again and again. Even when we sit quietly, The mind is not quiet. It is planning, calculating, remembering, desiring. It is not alive to what is here now, the sound of birds, the feeling of breath, the movement of trees. This is the trap of psychological time. Physical time exists, morning, afternoon, night. But psychological time is an illusion. It is created by thought. Thought says, I was this, I will be that. But this I is just a bundle of memories. There is no fixed self. You are changing every moment. When we deeply see this, something shifts. We stop running. We stop pretending. We begin to understand ourselves, not through books, not through gurus, but by watching the mind silently. We see how thought creates suffering when it tries to escape what is. For example, if you are feeling lonely and you just sit with that feeling, without labeling it or judging it, you may notice that it changes. It rises and falls like a wave. But if you say, I must get rid of this loneliness, then you start looking for distractions, and the real issue stays hidden. Most of our energy is wasted in avoiding pain and chasing pleasure. This is the cycle of suffering. A man who was once rich may lose his wealth and become depressed, not because he has no money now, but because his identity was tied to being rich. He cannot accept the present reality, so he suffers more from the loss of image than the loss of money. A woman who was deeply loved may suffer not just from a breakup, but from the breaking of the idea, I was special. The mind builds these ideas, and when they are broken, we feel pain. But the pain comes from attachment to the image, not from reality itself. Reality is always simple. What is, is. The flower blooms, then dies. The child laughs, then cries. The seasons change, the body ages. This is life. But the mind wants permanence. It wants things to stay the same. It wants guarantees. And that is why it suffers. Freedom comes not by controlling the mind, but by understanding it. Not by running away from thoughts, but by observing them like clouds passing in the sky. No judgment, no resistance, just watching. Slowly, the noise begins to slow down, and in that space, something new is seen. A deep stillness, a presence that is not created by thought. That is where real intelligence begins. Not the intelligence of books or success, but the intelligence of clarity. Then success is just a part of life, not a burden. Relationships become a space for love, not possession. Religion becomes a way to look inward, not a way to divide people. And the future becomes a tool, not a trap. You still plan, you still act, but you are not caught in the fantasy. You don't depend on future pleasure to make you happy now. You live fully here and now with open eyes. Even pain becomes a teacher, not an enemy. You allow it, understand it, and let it pass. Then there is no need to loop old memories or fear tomorrow. Life becomes light, flowing, natural. This is the art of living, not controlled by mind but aware of it, not stuck in images but free from them, not bound by belief but open to truth. This is not something to achieve tomorrow, it begins in this moment now. The real problem is not the outside world but how we think about it. The mind keeps saying, if I get that thing, I will be satisfied. But when we get it, the satisfaction is short. Then the mind jumps to the next desire. A man buys a new car and feels proud, but after a few weeks he sees someone else with a better car, and now he feels small again. The mind compares. It wants to be better, to be praised, to be admired. But this comparison is endless. Someone will always have more money, more beauty, more talent. So the mind feels incomplete. It keeps building an image of a perfect life, but that image is always in the future and never now. This is how we miss life. A woman may sit in a beautiful garden, but her mind is thinking about an argument from last week. She cannot enjoy the flowers, the breeze, the sunlight, because her mind is caught in a past memory. Or someone may walk along the beach while worrying about a meeting next week. The body is free, but the mind is in prison. We live like this every day, absent, distracted, and divided. Thought is useful when we use it for practical things, like cooking, traveling, solving a math problem. But when thought tries to solve emotional pain, it fails. It tries to fix loneliness, fear, or sadness by thinking more. But this only creates more confusion. Thought cannot heal the heart. Only attention, pure and silent, can do that. If we sit quietly and just feel what we feel without trying to escape, something magical happens. The pain begins to speak. It shows us our hidden fears, our unmet needs, our illusions. But the moment we name it, judge it, or try to fix it, we break that connection. So the art is to observe, not to control. A person may say, "I feel anxious," and immediately he wants to remove that anxiety. He drinks coffee, watches TV, calls a friend, scrolls social media. But the anxiety is still there, just hidden. It grows in the dark. It becomes stronger because we never looked at it clearly. But if the same person just sits quietly and watches his breath, and allows the anxiety to rise without fear, he may discover that anxiety is just a movement of thought. It is the mind imagining failure, loss, or rejection. It is not the present. It is a shadow of a future that does not exist. But we believe it. That is why suffering grows. The mind is like a projector. It takes past images and throws them into the future. It says, "This happened before, so it might happen again." A child who once failed in school may grow up fearing failure in every task. A woman who was once betrayed may always expect betrayal in love. These fears are not real. They are created by memory. But because we believe them, they shape our actions. We don't trust others. We don't take risks. We don't live fully. The past becomes our prison, and the future becomes our fear. In this confusion, the present is lost. There is also a strange addiction to pleasure. The mind remembers good moments like the first kiss, a festival, a childhood hug, and wants to feel that again. So we keep replaying those memories. They give comfort, but this is not real joy. It is borrowed from the past. When you eat your favorite food and enjoy it, that is natural. But when you keep thinking about that food again and again, even when it is not in front of you, that is craving. The mind becomes restless. It says, "I want it again." Pleasure turns into addiction. The same thing happens in relationships. People say, "I want that person because they make me happy." But what they want is the memory of how that person made them feel. They don't see the person clearly anymore. They are chasing a feeling, not truth. And this chasing leads to control, jealousy, fear of loss. Love becomes a battlefield. The same is true in success. A person wins an award and feels proud. But instead of moving on, they keep thinking, "And I must stay on top." This creates pressure, fear of failure, and stress. Success becomes a burden. The truth is, when we chase pleasure, we are actually running from emptiness. There is a gap inside, a feeling of something missing. But instead of looking into that emptiness directly, we try to fill it with people, things, goals, and beliefs. But no matter what we put into it, the emptiness returns. Because it is not a hole to be filled. It is a space to be understood. That emptiness is our true self calling. It wants us to look within, not to escape, not to fight, but to understand. Only in that understanding comes transformation. Now look at how society trains the mind to escape from reality. From childhood, we are told to be somebody. We must achieve, become, prove ourselves. No one says, "Just be." This creates pressure. A child draws a picture, and instead of enjoying the act, he thinks, "Will my parents like it?" Slowly, creativity dies. Expression becomes performance. In the same way, religion is taught as belief, not inquiry. People are told to follow blindly, repeat rituals, and fear punishment. But belief is not truth. It is just a comfortable idea. It makes us feel safe, but it also divides. One person believes in one God, another in a different God, and they fight. The real sacredness is not in belief, but in silence, in seeing things clearly, without distortion. The mind, when caught in belief, becomes rigid. It cannot learn. It cannot love. Because love needs openness. It needs freedom. And freedom only comes when we are not tied to any idea, not even the idea of I. The I is the biggest illusion. We say, I am angry, I am happy, I am right, I am hurt. But who is this I? It is just a collection of thoughts, memories, emotions. It is not fixed. When you are silent, when there is no thought, is there an I? Number. There is just awareness, just presence. That presence is real. It has no name, no form. It cannot be hurt, cannot be proud, cannot be compared. It is pure seeing, pure being. But the moment we identify with thought, the I returns, then we suffer. So the key is to watch. Watch the movement of thought. Watch how it creates fear, hope, images, desires. Not to judge, not to stop it, but to be aware of it. Like watching clouds move across the sky, they come and go, but the sky remains untouched. When we live like this, life becomes simple. There is no need to pretend, no need to chase, no need to compare. You are not trying to be someone. You are just being. You work because work needs to be done, not to prove your worth. You love because love flows naturally, not because you fear being alone. You learn because you are curious, not because you want a reward. Then life becomes light, playful, full of wonder. You laugh more. You cry freely. You connect deeply. Because you are not hiding behind thought anymore. You are present. And presence is the only real freedom.